Hey guys, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's Mousy, the ultimate SL clout chaser, going to rebrand, but I keep saying that, but it'll happen soon enough, hopefully, eventually. And I'm here with Tessa Page Jupiter. Now, if you guys are living under a rock and you don't know who Tessa is, she's SL famous as a gotcha reseller. And Tessa, you can't say you're not SL famous because I was told about you at the arcade several times as well. So, and I
Gosh.
think I even led with that when I asked you to do this interview.
Yeah, it's too weird. Okay, go on.
Yeah, and so she's a really well known gotcha reseller. And I thought it would be a great opportunity to bring her on. And we'll cover a couple bases here in this interview, which is A, how to make SL, how to start an SL business, maybe how to make a little extra cash to support your SL life, which is to pay tier, maybe pay business. In this case, buy inventory for a gotcha store. And is it even worth having a gotcha store? And just get her, pick her brain a little bit and get her thoughts on what it's like to be a gotcha reseller after the switch from gotchas to my pawns. We'll get into that shortly. And what the climate is like for gotcha resellers right now. What are their challenges, pros, cons, so on and so forth. So, hey, Tessa, welcome to the channel. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Okay, that's good. Good to hear.
Would you like me to tell you a little bit about myself, I guess?
Absolutely.
Uh, okay, so Gacha Crazy is actually an element of one of my projects. So Jupiter Projects is the main brand, and Gacha Crazy falls under the umbrella of Jupiter Projects. I came up with the name Jupiter Projects because I do so many different things, and but I wanted to use Marketplace to sell everything I would do in the future. You know, my own artwork, creations, etc. So Jupiter Projects is an interactive. I create interactive experiences in Linden Homes. I do the Gotcha resale, and I'm also trying to get into more content creation and selling my RL art. But yes, Gotcha is the main thing that I'm doing right now.
Would you say it's the main thing that you're known for? Because I know that you were also a decorator here in SL. Um,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was addicted to decorating, so that's how it all started. And when I discovered gotchas, like, I mean, I played around with some of the machines, but really didn't know what they were over the years. You know, I would collect something, go, oh, it's no trans. Oh, this is neat. Blah, blah. But my friend, who I met around Christmas while I was doing one of my installations, she turned me on to gotchas and what they were. And I became so obsessed with them because I started to discover all these designers I didn't know existed
mhm.
before. And the gotchas were so different and unique, uh, items that you could decorate your home with, that nobody else would have, or people, they would be conversation pieces, that sort of thing. So I just became really addicted to them, and I got into a very bad habit, but that habit turned into a business. It's my friend Hal taught me about how to start, an in-world store. And one thing led to another, and I started selling on Marketplace, and the rest is history.
Okay. So just to recap, so basically you started as an SL decorator, and would you say that purchasing gotchas after discovering them enhanced your decorative business? And I guess it would give you a more unique house, a sim, a parcel, whatever in fact it is that you were decorating.
Sure. I mean, what I did was interactive experiences in Linden Homes. When the new Belissaria started, so I became addicted to that. So I ended up getting 4 alts on premium accounts just so I could have a new home to decorate constantly. It was just something I loved doing. It was a creative outlet. Um, and then with gotchas, I did incorporate them into some of my Linden Home installations that were open to the residents of Belissaria. So my main home is always is an interactive experience for people, and I changed the themes. I did one theme where it was sort of an Alice in Wonderland theme, and I used quite a few gotchas in that environment. So that was quite fun.
Okay. All right. And so now you discovered gotchas, and one thing in my experience, because I'm just a baby gotcha reseller, guys, and I started my own store, Rares and Spares, mid February, the end of February, I will say. And I just want to ask you how you got started. Number one, like, where did your inventory come from? And how did you know what to do? Because people think it's just a matter of getting a spare gotcha and posting it. And it can be, but I would think that there's more of a strategy to it than that. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Well, sure. I mean, when Hal introduced me to gotchas, well, okay, I guess to give you a little bit of context, I did a postgraduate certificate in small business entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I this gave me an opportunity to hone my skills to some degree, right? So I was very interested in how gotchas can be a business. How can you grow this? And I just basically tried various strategies to, I guess, grow the business. So I started with a small shop, and yeah, that did generate some income. Then I got a little stall and a little table, and that started to generate some business. And this was at Epic. So I've been with Epic since I started selling gotcha. So I always have a couple little shops there. Jewel is really lovely. She runs a beautiful sim, and yeah, so from there, I started wondering what marketplace was like, because my friend also sold some stuff on marketplace, and I started to go to different events and pull the machines and try to get sets. So this is before the ban, and so creating sets was a big thing. So you would pull until you got every item in the collection, and then you would box it and put it on marketplace, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I would put the full sets on marketplace and the singles, and I ended up posting things daily. Um, and I just got addicted to posting them every day. So I would have like, I would be pulling machines, I would be posting. And this is before I started taking pictures of products, right? I would just use the product key, short descriptor, not much, and just post. And the thing sold, right?
Right.
So as time went on, though, I started to notice that some of the product keys were really hard to see what the item looked like. So I thought, okay, well, I should start taking pictures of some of these items because I can't tell what that thing looks like. So the person trying to purchase the item is not going to know what it is either, right?
Right.
So that's how the photography started of the items. So I would just start taking pictures of some of the items and post them. And then I started to notice that I got better sales with posted images, you know. So then I started to do that more often. And now I'm at a point where I try to take pictures of many of the sets. I can't say take pictures of every set because that's insane, but I try to do as much as I can.
Okay. So you've given us a lot of information to unpack. So the first thing is that I want to address is when you first started out, you started out with a small shop, and then you talk about actually renting a stall. So this is my experience, and you could tell me if my understanding is correct. So on the weekends, guys, in SL, one of the things that I do for fun is I kind of peruse gotcha groups, and usually there are gotcha resellers who are letting us know, as the people in the group, hey, listen, I just put new items out. Come to my store, or come to this parcel, or this quarter sim, or this half sim, and there's multiple gotcha resellers there with small tables and they're selling items. I think this is an amazing way to pick up inventory. I've picked up gotchas for as little as 5, 10, 15, 20 lindens, upwards of 100, maybe 500 lindens. But when I check the same item on Marketplace, it's going for double the price. And I've actually sold things that I've bought at this discounted price for maybe two times, three times, four times as much. So is that what you mean when you say that you had a stall and that's kind of how you started with a store, then a stall, then moved on to Marketplace?
Yeah, so I would, sell my wares at my shop and my
Mm-hmm.
little stall. And then, yeah, I would sell them, and then I moved on to Marketplace to sell the items. In terms of how I sourced the items, I mean, I used various channels at the time, but, um, direct purchases from the machines.
Right.
I traded with other players. I pulled the gotcha machines, at the various events. Um, and I tried to, create some sort of diverse selection for customers as well. And I also played machines that I liked, or I would purchase things that I found interesting, you know. I don't necessarily purchase them because it's cheap, because you may not like it because, if it's 5 linden, but it looks like crap, why bother buying it,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Like personally, I buy things, especially when you go to kind of like the thrift shops or the flea markets of the gotcha resale world. The items are taken out of the box and it's put on display, and you purchase it, and then you just buy it, and then you can take it, so you can see the quality of the mesh. So everything in this store right now, that we're at Gacha Crazy. This is one of Tessa's this is Tessa's quarter sim actually, and it's one of the places she sells her gotchas. Everything here, from the menu board to the cash register to the drinks here to the donuts, they're all gotchas. So you can see the textures, you can see the quality of the mesh. So that's the benefit of actually going somewhere to pick up the gotchas rather than pull the machines. And we'll talk about that later, about maybe quality decline after the exit of certain gotcha events. But yeah, so obviously, guys, that just makes sense. You want to buy something that's high quality, that looks good, that you know that people will be able to utilize and use, of course. So, in your experience, Tess, do you find that it's easier to sell gotchas in World or or in Marketplace?
I would say that the majority of my sales have always been on Marketplace.
Okay.
Um, that is definitely where my bread and butter started, and Marketplace paid for all my shops, my quarter sim, all that initially for sure. In World, I do sell in World as well, but it's not as much as I do on Marketplace. That is the truth. But um, I do have over 14,000 gotchas on my Marketplace store. So I think that at this, uh, is part of the reason, because I have a lot of inventory to choose from, right? Um, in terms of the in-world sales, I did find that with my quarter sim, I do sell more here. So I can pay for the rental for my quarter sim every month from the sales I generate here. No problem. Plus, there's a profit.
That's awesome. Would you say that there's enough of a profit? So when you say profit, are we saying enough profit to cover the tier on the store, maybe your SL home, buy clothes, SL entertainment, or enough to cash out?
In terms of all sales, or,
All
I mean,
sales. Yeah, and you
yeah,
could
all
even break
sales.
it down by in world or marketplace as well if you want to.
Well, in terms of all sales, for sure. If I wanted to cash out, that wouldn't be a problem. I haven't cashed out yet. I've been doing this for 4 years and I haven't cashed out for several reasons. But basically, when you do have to understand a few things, because once you cash out, that becomes real money.
Right.
And when it becomes real money, it's taxable. You become a self employed individual. And depending on what part of the world you live in, you're going to need to claim those lindens that are cashed out because on your taxes. And I haven't gotten to that point because I didn't have to, and I just found that I really didn't want to deal with all that paperwork. So I've kept everything in world. So I can go to an event and probably spend a lot more lindens than most people. Let's put it that way. So I can get a lot of inventory. When I first started, that wasn't the case. You
Right.
know, you have to start small,
Mm-hmm.
right? And but start small and curate what you purchase and what you sell. You know, maybe create a theme of items to start with, perhaps. You know,
I,
if
I
you
would
like.
I would agree with that, but for those of us who don't want to get analysis paralysis, right? Because I find that a lot of people overthink things, and that prevents them from actually starting. If they think, "Oh my God," for example, we're in a cafe right now, I have to get all cafe items or all bedroom or kitchen items, then they may feel like I won't be able to start because they don't have enough. And
Well, you know, I mean, you can have a little cafe, but you don't have to have all cafe items in the cafe, right? You can put some little Boogers bears over here, and you could put some, other colorful items or things that are kind of against the grain, so to say, that wouldn't be found in a cafe. So you could do things like that for sure, too,
yeah,
you
so we
know?
have to be a little creative with it. So guys, when I started the store, so you guys know Mousy, was obsessed with Mousy, me, Karma. We're obsessed. All my different personalities in Second Life, it's all one and the same person in RL. Those are my passions in real life. That's just coming out through Second Life. That just shines through in Second Life. I love gotchas. I love the thrill of pulling and not knowing what you're going to get. I even like the buy-pons because gotchas for me are just really creative items that you don't see on the weekend sales or events. And it just makes your Avi look extremely unique. It makes your land look unique. It makes your home look unique. And I just love the creativity that goes into it, the newness. Like it just brings something fresh to SL creations in general. But with that being said, when I started Rares and Spares, all I did was say to all my friends, "Hey, I'm starting a gotcha store," and everyone donated things to me. I definitely don't have 14,000 items in my marketplace, but I have close to like 550 items, something like that. But that was all gotchas I had in my inventory collecting dust, old and new. Some were retired, and I didn't even know worth a lot of money at this point. In addition to that, I got tons and tons of donations from friends and friends of friends. So if you want to start a gotcha store, maybe you can do that. Just start listing on Marketplace or go Tessa's route and open an in-world store. But if someone were to open an in-world store, how would they advertise for it? Like, what would you suggest outside of the groups?
Well, in terms of outside of the groups,
Like outside of gotcha groups where you're just kind of like spamming your slurls or your marketplace and things like that.
well, you could, if you, let's see, if you see, for me, I have a parcel, so I can do I can add the parcel to the search,
Okay.
so that helps. But you can't do that at the yard sales. So, usually it's the groups for in-world stuff. You could, if you're into doing, you could create like a Facebook page, I suppose, for your stuff. Some people do that. Um, uh, you could probably do something on Flickr. You know, um, create like a Flickr page, take pictures of your items.
Maybe
Maybe
Instagram.
Instagram, yeah, for sure. Any of those things. I mean, I haven't gone the social media route. I probably should, but I haven't gone that route yet.
Okay. And I just wanted to touch on this because we are talking about how to make money in SL. I will divulge, and you don't have to test, but I will divulge like what I've made. So like I said, I started my store in like 2021, 2022. But you guys, please keep in mind, although I do shop for gotchas, I wouldn't say that I'm spending an outrageous sum of money. A lot of the stuff that I have was donated, so it is mostly pure profit after sales, and it's things that I've already had in my inventory. But I started in February, and now it's March 8th, and I made close to 10,000 linden in February, and I'm tracking towards 20,000. Like, and I just love the sounds of the little cha-chings from the marketplace. But one thing I will say is, to Tessa's point, I think the gotcha keys, if you use that as your advertising picture, that's great. But please keep in mind, the more effort you put into your ad, the better. I use Gyozos to make little videos if I take items out of boxes or if they're already out of boxes, and then take individual pictures as well. Um, I don't have like a brand like you do for Jupiter Projects. I think your brand is amazing, and you guys will see it in the thumbnail, and also when you have, I'll leave the slurl and everything related to Gotcha Crazy store in the description. And when you guys pop onto the sim, you can see this as well. It's a black logo with the JP, which is Jupiter Projects design. It looks amazing. It's simple. It's eye catching. It's recognizable. Can you tell us what made you decide to do that?
Well, actually, my son designed the logo for me when he was 16,
Mm-hmm.
and he was playing around with Photoshop and Illustrator. And I asked him to create a logo for me. And I said, well, I want black and I want gold. Those are sort of my colors, or orangey gold. And so that is what he came up with. And I've been using that ever since. I have been thinking of rebranding, but I'm not there yet. Um, I did want to actually add a point
Mm-hmm.
to what you were saying. Add something to what you were saying previously. If somebody wants to get into selling gotchas, I would advise them to research who the best designers are in Second Life, build relationships within the gotcha community, and approach the business with some dedication and flexibility.
Definitely dedication, guys, because this is not something where you post two items in a week and you forget about it and you come back, or like you kind of have to have uh you kind of have to have a little bit of a schedule, like maybe a goal. I'm going to post 10 items a day. I'm going to shop for inventory on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Like there has to be some structure around it. It's not something you could have kind of like a laissez faire or laissez faire attitude about. Like you have to kind of treat it as you would a real business, I would say, to make money. Now, I want to
To build your
mm-hmm,
brand for sure. And that's what,
absolutely. I want to elaborate on this because it's funny how you say please network within the gotcha community, because I always felt like the gotcha community was very hard to break into. Like people were so secretive. Like I just want to even talk about the Epiphany event. The Epiphany event, I knew a lot of amazing creators who wanted to be a part of that event. They couldn't even get a IM back about it, right? Like even though they were established, even though they had quality items, like the Epiphany standards were really high and they were really strict about who they let in. And I feel like the gotcha community followed suit in terms of resellers. There wasn't a lot of information out there about how to start a gotcha business, what items to sell. Like, does clothes sell better than furniture? Or does Animesh pet sell better? Or wearables or companions or plushies? Like, there was no information out there. Did you find the gotcha community hard to break into? Or do you feel like it was a
um,
lucky break with your friend, Hal?
I I think it was a lucky break with Hal for sure. She's just such an amazing, fun, chatty person. Everybody loves Hal. Like, knowing Hal through her, I met other resellers and I was introduced to people she knew, so it was like a networking thing for sure. Um, and, yeah, I was struggling with how to price my items. I had no idea. And I asked one reseller, and he said, just price it. What do you think? What do you think the item is worth? Price it as what you think the value of it is. So, and he's the one who told me, you know what? You price it, you leave it, and that's it. Eventually, it will sell. It might sell in a few weeks. It might sell tomorrow. It might sell a year or two from now, but it will eventually sell. So when you go on Marketplace and you see uh, 10 of the same item and you see the cheapest price, like 50 linden, and you go, oh my God, well, I spent 75 pulling it at the machine. I don't want to take a loss on it. Don't take a loss. Price it at 149. Eventually it'll sell. It'll cut, your turn will come, right? So have patience when you're in this business. When people price things too cheap, a lot of people don't buy it either. They will go for the next item up or the mid-priced item.
Even though it's the
They're
same item?
exactly. It's the psychology of the sale, you know, and it's also who they're buying from. if you're a trusted reseller, if you're, if, what happens after during an event, a lot of people play the machines for themselves, and then all their spares, they just want to get rid of them. So they'll put them on Marketplace really cheap, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good way for people to scoop up items, actually,
Mm.
for their own gotcha business, because you'll get that item super cheap. And then after the event, you'll be able to raise the price on that item.
Okay.
So that's something to think about as well.
Dropping jewels here. So, okay, get donations from friends after gotcha events, scour marketplace, buy where buy items from whoever's selling their spares. Also hit up some, like even your store, Jupiter Project. You have sales quite frequently, and you do have gotchas between 10, 20, 50 lindens at times as well, right, Tess?
Oh yeah, I've recently put items up for 1 linden, 5 linden hairs, things like that, because those are older items that I need to clear out. Since my marketplace is so huge, I've been having actual issues with it technically. So I've had to get rid of items. So I'll have those sales, and so you can always go on my page and take a look at, what do I have under 10 linden, and, grab it, you know.
To build your inventory. In your
Yeah.
experience, do some designers sell better than others? And just going back to a point that I made where I said I kind of didn't even know myself, to me, I feel like clothes don't sell that well unless, like, for example, the arcade 2024 event in March, because I think it's out every quarter. All the items for 1975 are selling. Some clothing items are selling really well, but in general, in my experience, I feel like clothing doesn't sell well because bodies change so fast. Like, for example, anything I have for Maitreya, I can't even use it for Laura X because Laura X doesn't necessarily let you convert back to the old body. Do you have that issue?
Yeah. So, clothing, I do sell some clothing, and I only sell it on Marketplace. I don't do a lot of clothing either. I usually buy clothing that I want for myself.
Mm.
So I'll play that machine, and sometimes I will play the different body types, because I do play for Maitreya. I have not changed my body since 2017. I just am too tired to,
It's a
to
lot
do
to
that.
keep up with. It really is.
Yeah, it's too much. I mean, I don't mind the Laura X. I'm happy with that, and I've been playing around with that a little bit. But I do, when I buy something, I also want to see what that item looks like. For me, I think it's kind of important. I've actually purchased a set a while back where the Maitreya was totally messed up, and the designer actually gave me about 4,000 linden back,
Wow.
because she wasn't going to redo or fix the Maitreya. So that was very sad. But yeah, so it's important for me to try on the item before I sell it. And I do have some designers that I do like and that I think do sell. Like what I'm wearing right now is Poison Rouge, and it's the Mitsun collection. I love this set.
It's very cute.
Um, and so there are some clothing items that I do sell, but again, it's because I like them, right? And yeah, getting to know which designers sell and what thing, sex sells. So anything that you have that's sexy will definitely sell. People like that. Lingerie sells. That's my experience. Um, and designers like Poison Rouge,
Hmm. And you
in terms
said
of in the
evening
clothing
gowns
market.
sold. You feel like evening gowns sell pretty well.
The Sophia gowns, those sold well for me. They're beautifully done.
Yeah. And I just find, like, again, like I said, when newer gotchas come out, then people kind of just want to get the full set. So I find that if I have any rares or spares, they happen to sell as well. What sells really well for me are things that I never thought would. So if I get any type of amethyst, or crystal, rose quartz, anything like that, that sells. Any
Oh yeah.
witchy Wiccan item sells. Tarot card items sell. Webcams, computer items sell. It's the most randomest things. And then some over the top, like these really like Marie Antoinette type dresses that's kind of mixed in with fantasy healer bear or something like that. Just really random items do sell for me. Things that I never
Oh yeah.
thought would.
Yeah, it's surprising, what does sell and what doesn't in some cases for sure. Pets, people love pets, animals sell, stuffies sell,
Mm-hmm.
those sort of things. Animesh pets definitely sell, you know. The pet I have with me, I don't know if you can see him in the camera.
We
He's
can.
the last Gian Gacha that Gian did for the Epiphany, and I just absolutely love this guy. He's a rare adult, and
Super
he's
cute.
precious to me. A little Akita.
I love my Animesh pets. Anyone who knows me knows I always have them. I usually have D Dot as my little res room dog, and I have another dog from Semi Emotions that I've been carrying around for weeks. But here's the thing, though. What I find is that the Animesh pets, for some reason, like the price tanks on them. Like they go for 25 lindens, 30 lindens online, and I have no idea why. And that brings me to my next question. How do you battle this? So let's say that a seller has an item. Usually, the first person to post something kind of sets the price, and they sell it for a rare for 500 linden. And because they know that Epiphany no longer exists, some creators no longer create these, no longer sell the gotchas in their store. They didn't convert up to the MyPon system, and this is now retired gotcha, or these items are kind of non-existent throughout the grid. It's very hard to find, and they might sell something for 500, 750 linden, and everyone kind of follows suit. They might drop the price 20 linden, 30 linden, and then there's that one person who comes in and they try to sell this rare exclusive item for 250 linden. Do you feel pressure as a gotcha reseller to match the price, the lowest price?
No, not at all. Uh, you know, they're gotchas are finite, right? Basically, like especially the older gotchas,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they eventually won't be around, so I price accordingly in terms of, what's the quality of the item is, the rarity, how much I have in my inventory. If I have a few of them, I might price it for less. But when it comes to if I'm about to sell the very last item, I always up the price and I don't care how long it stays on marketplace.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean the rule of thumb that I was told years ago was that you price a rare based on the pull price. So 10 times the pull price. So if it's 75 linden a pull, then you sell it for 750 basically, or 749. If it's 100 a pull, then you sell it for 1,000 linden, right? So that's generally how things used to work, but not so much now.
Not at all.
I get kind of upset when I see that, oh, well, I've just spent 100 linden on each pull, and somebody's putting up that 100 linden pull rare for like 4.99. It's like, what? I spent 100 linden a pull here. That rare should be more than 4.99,
I agree with
especially if
that.
it's a good rare.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. And especially since, so earlier Tess mentioned full sets, and I just wanted to clarify that a little bit for those of you who don't know, because I meet a lot of people in SL who have never heard of gotchas, and I think it's the IMVU crowd that came in and some other, new crops of SL people who just didn't have weren't fortunate enough to be around during the height of the gotcha era, right? So some people just don't know about it. So basically, just to recap, a gotcha, it is like coordinated items or a set of items that go together. For example, it could be a baker's set. So you might get a mixer, dough that you roll out, a beautifully decorated cake, a misshapen cake, sprinkles, a cookbook with kind of like icing all over it. It's really cute. It's really adorable and something that would make your kitchen look really unique. And especially if you love to bake, it's bringing something that you love into SL. And so most people would want the entire set because it just looks better, right? But when you buy a gotcha, it is not copyable, but it's transferable. So you can gift it to friends, which people love because you can't share clothes or anything like that in SL. But because once a gotcha is gone, I think now it's pretty much gone because most creators do not sell these gotchas in their stores anymore. So it makes a full set extremely valuable. If you're able to get a full set in a creator store, it's more than likely copyable but not transferable anymore. And to me, it loses its value that way. So you said, a test that things have kind of changed when looking at marketplace and the climate of gotchas when it comes to full sets. How so?
Well, you pretty much hit the nail on the head there in terms of the full sets. The creators now sell, many of them sell full sets at the events, right? Like copy versions of the gotcha. Um, and it's it's kind of difficult pricing full sets now. Um, Previously, you could price a full set, um, at say there were 20 items, you could price it for say 34.99 or something. But now a copy set might be going for 19.99 with those 20 items, or 24.99. And the question is, well, is it worth doing a full set?
Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I do find some people still buy them, but not as frequently. I used to sell quite a few full sets prior to the gotcha machine ban, the way that it used to be. That was my bread and butter, were the full sets. And then all the singles would be the profit, you know. So sell the set, make profit on all the singles. Now again, it's changed. So it's it's it, it's what I would say: do a one set if you can, if you want to, or maybe two, but don't go crazy with the sets. See how they sell.
Yeah, that's
And
sound
then you can always
advice.
break, oh sorry, and then you can always break it up if it's not selling, and sell it in singles.
Yep, that's pretty good advice. No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just agreeing with that. Yeah, so it's trial and error, guys. You just have to figure it out, and you have to be adaptable. What I notice is that because the rules around gotchas have changed. You don't have the blind pulls anymore, which is where you just pay your 50, 7,500 linden and then it's a surprise what you get. Now you have the my pawns where you see number 11's coming up, number 12, the rare's coming up. I just feel like people were unable to adapt to this new system or they were discouraged and they just stopped. And a big part of the gotcha decline, I would say, is because of Epiphany. Like, Epiphany was the standard when it came to gotchas and it was the place to go. It took days to get in there. It was just fun. It was a rush just getting in because it took you so many days to get in there. It was so crowded.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, definitely.
yeah, that was amazing. Good times. But with that being said, because the climate of gotchas have changed, being a gotcha reseller, is that profitable right now in 2024?
Um, that's to be determined. I mean, things have changed in terms of marketplace. The marketplace search has changed. Linden Labs has implemented a different search algorithm, so that has affected sales across the board for gotcha resellers, for creators. There's been a lot of upset creators. Um, so we'll just have to wait and see. You have to play around. If you're doing marketplace, then you have to play around with your keywords. Use good keywords. Do not spam. Do not, if you're selling a chair, don't put Maitreya. Don't put hot tub in your keywords. Okay, it's a chair. Put
Right.
everything related to a chair in your keyword. Um, so that's important. Descriptions of your items are important. Put the land impact of an item if you can in in your descriptor. Um, People look at those things, and going back to when we were talking about photography, taking a picture of the item if you can is helpful. If you can't do that, if it's a good product key, which is the product image that you get with your gacha, then see if you can put a little square around the image, the part that you're selling, or try to blow up the image, crop it if you know how to use Photoshop or something, or some sort of photo software. Do other little things just to stand out a bit as well. I think when there's a lot of gachas, the same gachas on the marketplace, do everything you can to stand out. And
Mm.
that will probably guarantee you more sales.
That totally makes sense. And something that Tess touched on was brand loyalty. So she firmly believes in sticking to the price that she sets because it'll sell eventually. You know, the cheaper items will go, and soon enough it'll dwindle out where only your items remain because gotchas are finite items. So, with that being said, we've covered a lot. So, we've covered how to price your gotchas, and it's 10 times the pull price for a rare. What about a common? What was the rule of thumb for commons? Two or three
Oh,
times?
commons again are, it's what is the common, if it's a beautiful table, right, and you paid 50 linden for it, you pulled 50, maybe do 99 or 149 or 199. Depends on, the quality of the item too. It depends on how many of those that same item is on marketplace. When you're selling okay, there's a couple of things you should also know. When you're selling on marketplace, Linden Labs takes a 10% cut
Mm-hmm.
from each sale that you make, right? So if you want to try and sell everything at full price, you go, okay, you know what? I just want to sell my spares and I just want to make my money back. If you want to make your money back, add 10% to your pull price. Then you'll make your money back because Linden Labs takes the 10%. Otherwise, you're going to take a loss. Um, in World, I always sell my items for less than I do on Marketplace. You know,
Because you don't have to worry about that fee.
that, and I think people in World tend to want to spend less. That is one thing I have noticed.
Yeah, because you're willing to pay for the convenience of just not leaving your home or whatever you're doing, talking with your friends, and or being at the club, whatever you're doing, and having to TP around and search for something. But so here's also another question that I have. So we talked about the pricing. We talked about where to get the gotchas in world versus marketplace. How do you deal with customers? Because this is a very unique product. No copies. No copies means if this product does not get delivered, I don't have another one to give. Maybe Tess has another one. She has 14,000 items in her marketplace. I don't have another item to give you. So, how do you deal with customers who say, hey, you sent me an empty box? Or, and some gotcha resellers feel like they're being scammed when customers say that, or when they say, I didn't get the item, or even though it clearly says in the ad, please don't be in busy mode, be online, res carefully, don't gift this item to anyone, receive it, then gift it yourself. How do you deal with that so that you keep the brand loyalty going?
Well, I did speak to a reseller when I first started about that, and he said, "Well, what are you going to do, right? It's their word against yours. So what he would do is just give them another item. Maybe investigate. What I do is I investigate too. Usually, if they didn't receive their item, I ask them to log out and log back in, and 9 times out of 10, the item is there.
Okay.
You know, um, Empty box. Well, sometimes it can happen. When you're putting sets together, you're opening a whole bunch of boxes. You might accidentally take the box instead of delete the box. when you're taking your photographs or whatever, right? So when somebody says they got an empty box, I kind of go, well, maybe, it's possible. So I have just given them another item. I have given them a refund, you know. Um, what bothers me is when people don't reach out to me and leave a bad review.
Okay.
That's frustrating. It's like, you reach out to me and I will try and find a solution to the problem. If you can't open the box, I will help you open the box. I will come to your home if you need me to come there and help you figure out what the problem is with the box, or the item. If I had someone contact me who tried to make the item larger and she broke all the textures.
Oh no.
So I helped her fix the textures, So things like that, basically, I try to handle customer issues and disputes as professionally as I can and with empathy, and I do prioritize them and their thoughts and their issue, and I try to be fair, you know, and try to maintain positive relationships with my clientele.
Of course, because you want them to come back. So, guys, for those of you leaving bad reviews, please reach out to the sellers or creators, even in worlds who aren't selling gotchas. Like, give the creators and gotcha resellers and whoever's selling any item an opportunity to rectify the problem before leaving a bad review. That should be the
Exactly.
absolute last resort. And I've reached out to creators. It happened to me last week about an item that I paid quite a lot of money for, and their manager was extremely rude to me. She was basically like, "Why don't you read the manual and try to figure it out?" Or, "I'm too busy," but then spent 30 minutes arguing with me about kind of like how stupid I was for not being able to figure it out, which was very unpleasant.
Oh,
But I
yeah. No, that's
contacted the owner.
horrible.
Yeah, it was really bad. But I contacted the owner who rectified the situation. It was fine. But I think that's a situation where a bad review would be warranted. But not reaching out or not sending a note card or doing something and leaving a bad review, it's kind of not fair.
Oh, and FYI, note cards. Please send note cards because some people, their IMs get capped. They're not going to get your IM. So I always send an IM and a note card if there's an issue.
You could literally copy your IM into a note card and just change the title and send it over.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's not that hard, guys. I know that sometimes it's easier when you're feeling emotional about something that didn't go right and you wanted to wear this pair of shoes or this dress, or if you're a guy, this jacket, whatever it is. But yeah, just copy and paste on the note card. It's always the kind of best way to get in contact with everyone. Like, this is kind of like SL standard, right? So we talked about customer service, gathering inventory, prices. We even talked about competition a little bit in terms of pricing. Like, do you meet the lowest price? And you said for the most part you don't. But I wanted to ask you, if someone reached out to you and jumped in your box and said, "Hey Tess, do you mind like lowering the price of this item?" Are items in your marketplace or even in world stores negotiable?
They are, and it depends on whether if I have any more of those items left in stock too. If I have only one item, I might be a little, hesitant to negotiate depending on what it is, if that's all I have left. But if I have several items, I am more than happy to negotiate pricing, for sure. People have done that several times with me. You know, People have reached out for items that are quite precious, and since I had a few of them, I said, "Oh, no worries here, just take it for, 9.99." And then the person gave me twice that much,
Oh,
So it's interesting. Yeah, haggling. I am very happy to haggle.
okay, that's good to know. And would you encourage people who want to buy gotchas to haggle with other resellers? Do you think that's is that offensive
It doesn't hurt to ask
or
for a
does it
better
hurt to?
price if it's possible. Why not? It might not be. If that's okay too. Just say, hey, is it possible to maybe get a little, better price on that? And the worst the person can say is, yeah, no, right?
Good to
And
know.
then to say no, well, then, you move on. You might be able to find that item cheaper somewhere else. Who knows?
So, for all the potential gotcha resellers out there who want to start a business in SL, and it's like, I am not a scripter, I'm not an animator, I'm not a creator of clothes, I don't know what to do, but this kind of seems like something I'd be able to do. It seems doable. How do they start? Like, how, you said find a good gotcha network. Do you have any advice of where to go, what groups they should join?
Well, yeah, there's a bunch of groups. I mean, the boss. Here, let me bring up my little group thingy here. So we've got Grid Wide Gotcha,
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha Addict, Gotcha Hunters, Gotcha Wanting More, GS Gotcha and Trade, The Boss is Away, and then if you become a member, or I'm sorry, not a member, but if you get a stall at Epic, you can also advertise in their groups. Um, you can do a search for gotcha groups as well on your internal viewer search thing. There's Too Adorable Gotcha. Um, who else is there? Do, 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 do. Gotcha Hunters. Oh, Bubblegum Gotcha. There's a bunch of different places that you can, advertise, and, try to advertise as often as you can. I'm usually get really busy, so I don't advertise as much as I should. And I would like to get a bot specifically to advertise in the spam groups. I haven't gotten around to that. I do have a bot for other groups that are outside of the Gotcha network, and I pay 250 a week for that. I'm not sure what groups she does, but it's about 40 groups that bot advertises in for me as well.
Okay. That's actually good to know. I didn't even know that existed. So, what about marketplace advertising? I know that you could run a 7-day ad on marketplace or have your listing featured for $7.99. Do you think that's worth it?
No, I don't do that. What I do is I do the 359 per week in the enhanced listings under the gotcha category, because
Mm,
I do want to make myself visible. So it's always good if you can afford to do that. I would say put a couple of items that you want to sell, or you don't. Okay, basically, I don't consider it a way of selling that specific item. What it is selling is my store. It's an advertisement for my store when I use the enhanced listings.
you're imprinting that logo into our brains.
Exactly.
All right. Um, so something that we kind of, what are some of the biggest challenges for gotcha resellers today on marketplace or even in world outside of my pond? Because I feel like everyone's sort of adapted to that right now by 2024.
um, well, some of the challenges, well, I would say one of the issues that we're dealing with is copy botters in Second Life, and they undermine the marketplace's integrity, um, and by creating an unfair competition.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also, I mean, the sale of stolen items in Second Life at lower prices also creates unfair competition. So that is a negative aspect to selling no copy items. Uh, Linden Labs has tried to shut down several stores over the years, but it still continues. You know, um, these people remain undetected, and they continue to proliferate, and it does cause harm to the marketplace.
Yeah, and
So
it
that
screws
is
up
a
the economy,
challenge.
right? Because, so guys, it's basic economics, right? It's supply and demand. If there's too much supply, the demand goes down. And I have seen this myself where I told you one of my little pet peeves is if someone drastically reduces the price of, I've seen the price of items reduced to 7 lindens because it
Yep.
feels like someone has unlimited copies, and I've tried to buy their copies, like say, let me just buy 3 of their copies and hopefully they'll run out, and then it'll just reset the market or at least get it to a reasonable price, 50 linden, 75 linden, 100 linden, and it's like I can't even buy the person out.
Yeah, I will tell you there's one person who had one item that I checked on, a common, and this person had like I'm sure more than 100 of this particular common, and there was nothing else from that set in their store, FYI. So you know that's fishy.
Right.
As nobody's going to have one particular common, 100 copies of it and nothing else.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, I bring this up to say that in any business, real life or second life, there are going to be challenges. There are things that you're going to have to navigate. So I just wanted to be 100% transparent with you. I feel like you can definitely make money as a gotcha reseller, even in 2024, even with gotchas not being as popular. Back in 2020, when I created my Gotta Getcha Gotcha event, which was like a weekend sale for gotchas, older gotchas, which was sold at half price, a lot of you guys bought the stuff, right? And
Oh, wait, that was you?
yeah, that was me.
Oh, I loved that.
You did? Yeah. And I kind of quit SL at the time where bigger creators were starting to buy in because it was hard for me to convince like really good creators to join it. Like I had a lot of unknown creators who had amazing objects, by the way, and items to sell. Because I've always been obsessed with gotchas. That's always been my thing. So yeah, that was my event. And so I had the channel and I advertised. I had all my friends doing videos for Gotta Getcha Gotcha, and it was wonderful. Like I really enjoyed it. So I hope this inspires you guys, A, to become a gotcha reseller, or even please someone out there create another gotcha event. I would love you forever. Like on the scale of Epiphany or Arcade or something like that.
Right. And again, there will be challenges, I mean, there is competition. It's just, and, acquiring the inventory can be challenging. So, just you can overcome these challenges by investing some time into it, researching the events, the designers, try to build relationships with, other sellers for potential, collaborations perhaps. I've participated in some gotcha resale events. I met some other there was one reseller, Sydney, who had this regular big event that I would participate in, and I would, rent a little shop for a month, during Christmas or, Valentine's or Halloween, to have these sort of events. That was great. Um, and there's another reseller who has these monthly events where we put items for sale at dirt cheap prices. I sell a lot of my random boxes there. Those are boxes that are filled with gotchas at really super cheap prices.
Oh
you
my
know,
God. I forgot. I'm so glad you mentioned that. The first time I saw it, someone was selling one, and it might have been you, 75 linden, and there were 10 gotcha items in there. And can I tell you, the first thing I sold covered the price of the box and some. Like
yep.
this first thing that I reposted. Those are amazing, guys. Those are where are you selling those?
I sometimes do them here at the store. I've been doing them lately through oh gosh, I just joined their group. The Forest of Nadria. She has sales. Oh, what's the name of it? Garden of Fallen Angels. So
Mm.
Garden of Fallen Angels has like monthly sales with some of the people that rent stores at her place. But I wasn't renting a shop, and I was allowed to sell some items. I just paid her a small fee, and I made a ton of money. Okay, I will tell you how much I made. In 1 week, I made 22,000 linden.
That's amazing. With those
Okay, I don't
boxes?
with those boxes pretty much, yeah, and some
Wow.
other items too, but yeah.
So so Tess is making $22,000, and for 100 linden, you have 10 items in your inventory. I think that's a a fair exchange isn't a swindle, guys.
So yeah, you can make it, but again, the more you collect, the more you can sell. you know.
Absolutely.
Uh, and I think there's still a market. We've been wondering how long this will last for the last 2 years, and it's still going strong. You know,
I'm single handedly bringing gotchas back. I don't care what anyone says.
Woo!
But I will say this. So Tess and I talked about this earlier, and there are gotcha resellers. I'm not saying that people are cashing out and paying their rent. Like they're handling their SL business, their tier inventory, they're paying tier on their homes, things like that, and they're still cashing out 100, 200, $500. You know, that's like little hobby money, side hustle money. So there is, I mean, there is definitely a reward in it. If you work hard, I don't want to say if you work hard and bootstrap, but you know, if you are just dedicated and you have a superior brand or a product and you develop a reputation of reliability. Wouldn't you say so, Tess?
Yes, and one thing I would like to add too is if you are going to sell on Marketplace and you want to get a picture of your item, don't take it from another reseller without their permission. Okay, that's copyright infringement. So take your own picture and put it up, or get the permission to use that other seller's photograph that they took of the item.
That's definitely fair. I don't think anyone would take your pictures because it says Jupiter Project all over it.
Actually, I filed several DMCA's already about that.
Really? Has anyone
People take,
been like reprimanded for that?
yeah, they take it down. Linden Labs because will take it down, especially people who take my picture and my logo.
Your logo as
It's
well?
like, really? You didn't even try to get rid of the logo?
That's insanity. That's just
Yeah,
plain laziness, guys. Right?
yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
lazy. Is there anything that you want to leave the viewers with, people watching, and happy to have gotten to know you and gotten all this, participate in this fountain of knowledge that you're just pouring out to us? What do you want to leave them with?
Well, have fun. It is really, when I started this, it was a fun thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, don't stress out over it. Um, you know, uh, Reach out to other sellers, get involved in the community, don't undercut to the point where it's insane. Keep your inventory appealing, update it. Um, include seasonal items, limited edition sets, perhaps. Curate your selections if you can, you know, um, and I guess try to just have fun, buy things or play games or machines with items that you like. That's the most important thing. Like the item. I mean, I love witchy stuff, so yeah, I'm playing all the witchy stuff.
Me too. Me
I
too.
like, some sofas. I love flowers. I love pets. So I play all those sorts of things.
And food clutter and food decor, I love that too.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You
I think that's really great advice. Thank you for pulling back the veil of seriously, because I feel like it's kind of elusive. Like this community is hard to get into. It's like a secret society or something. No one knows much about it. We just know
No, it's
that
not.
it
It
feels
is and
like
it
it.
isn't. Just get in there and talk to people. They'll be happy to talk to you.
Okay, so we're gonna test that theory out, Tess. Thank you so much for joining us and thank you for sharing all this information. Guys, be sure to shop Jupiter Projects on Marketplace. And please, and also, the original Gotcha Crazy store is here at Patricia Bay. All this information will be left in the description bar. Tell me where else we can find you, Tess.
Well, right now, I'm also at the Gotcha Shack. I'm at Epic in Dixfield. I'm also at the yard sale. I have some, satellite shops there. I'm trying different places because one thing we didn't really touch on is there has been a bit of a decline in marketplace sales, or I guess we did sort of
Yeah,
talk
you said
about that.
because of the
So what I've done
algorithm.
to circumvent that is by opening more satellite shops, so getting my brand out there even more, you
Has
know.
that helped?
I think it has, yeah, definitely.
I
I
think
do
a
have
newer
sales at these
person.
other locations.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think a newer person might feel more comfortable on Marketplace than in World Store. Do you think that would be a mistake to lean towards Marketplace rather than an inward? Because I think it's the tier that would scare them rather than the small fee you have to pay to upload.
If you can, I strongly recommend having something in world. It's a really good idea to have an in world presence. It can be a little stall, for maybe 100 linden a week. It doesn't have to be a lot, you know. It's just good to have that uh, URL to put on your marketplace site so
Mm.
people can come to your little stall or to your little shop. Personally, I think people trust that a little bit more as well.
And they can see the item and know that there are no empty boxes.
Exactly.
Because most people unpack their items, but there are boxes being sold at the stalls as well, guys. I'm teasing a little
True.
bit.
And also check when you are buying something at a stall, make sure there is an item in the box because sometimes, there are accidents will happen and someone will put out a box and forget that they took it instead of deleted it.
Right. And always send note cards, guys, as a reminder and final thought. It doesn't hurt to send a note card and allow a creator or a seller to just rectify the situation for you.
Perfect.
Yes. So, guys, have an amazing weekend. Enjoy your happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend. And I always say this, protect your energy because SL can be sometimes a little bit dramatic and it could be a little chaotic and negative in some areas. So I try to put out like a lot of content that's just fun and uplifting and inspiring and motivates you to kind of follow your SL dreams. So go ahead and do that and take care of each other. Bye.